Hi there, I'm Steve Hunt. I'm a CPA, which means that I want to be your consultant for prosperity and adventure. I'm the owner of College Tax Refunds, and I'm streaming live on Facebook for the first time from basically my YouTube channel, College Tax Refunds, also now called freedomwealthadventure.com. And I promised my YouTube followers that I would dive deeper into 15 common, costly, critical mistakes that recent college students and other young adults typically make at tax time. And I want to help people avoid these mistakes and save some money on their taxes. So today I just want to dive into the first mistake. I've listed all 15 of them in the last video yesterday, and I'm going to dive into each one day at a time, or one video at a time. The first mistake that's costly or could be costly is not filing a tax return at all. So you should file a tax return for 2019 if you, and here's the basic rule, earned $12,200 if you're single, or $24,400 if you're married, or at least that much. This is the rule of when you're required to file a tax return. If you made more than that, there's some chance that you owe taxes, and so the government wants you to file. Now, you should also file, however, if you were at least 25 years old last year and you earned any money at all, even if it's lower than these amounts from the previous bullet point. And that's because the government has a credit that they may want to share with you, give to you, which is like a tax rebate or a tax refund that you can get. Even if you only made a couple $1,000s or even a few $100s, if you were 25 years old or older, you may be entitled to the earned income credit, which means you can get a refund back of more money from taxes than you even paid. You, however, will not qualify for that extra money if you earn more than about $14,500 and you are over 25, but you will still need to file a tax return then anyway because you made over the minimum limits. However, if you had children at all and you earned any money, okay, 1, 2, or 3 children or more, you should definitely file a tax return. And this is because you can get more money back than you paid to the government because of the earned income credit or the additional child tax credit. The government wants to pay extra money to people with children. And so whether you made $12,200 or $24,400 or not, if you had any children, you should file a tax return and claim those extra credits, or it could cost you. Be sure also to report and claim the credit for any children you had who were born in 2019. I'll dive more into that in a later video, but many people forget to claim children that were born near the end of the year because they think, oh, they didn't live with me for 12 months. If you paid any income tax at all during 2019, you should file a tax return. Now, you'll notice that your government, your employer probably withheld money from your paycheck. You didn't get all the money you thought you were going to get because you paid Social Security and Medicare taxes, or you may also have paid federal income tax or state income tax, sometimes abbreviated FIT or SIT. If any taxes, federal or state taxes, were withheld from your paycheck, you should file a tax return because the amount withheld is probably not the exact amount that you owe. And there's a decent chance that you get to have some of that back as a refund. So file your tax return to claim the money, especially if you made less than the numbers in the top line above, $12,200 or $24,400, because you probably shouldn't have paid any taxes at all and you'll get all of that money back. You should file a tax return for 2019 if you'd like to claim the $1,200 stimulus check. That's the economic impact payment that Congress and the president signed into law just a couple months ago because of the coronavirus and COVID stuff, that everybody gets a $1,200 check or an additional $500 amount per child, as long as no one could claim you as their dependent. So if you are a recent college student or a young adult, you should file your own tax return if your parents are not claiming you as their dependent. And that way you can get the $1,200 stimulus check if you haven't already. If your parents are claiming you as a dependent, you probably will not get this money, and neither will they, unfortunately. You should also file a tax return if you paid any college tuition and no one else can claim you as a dependent. This is because, once again, you may qualify for a credit called the American Opportunity Tax Credit. I'm going to have about 6 more videos on ways that recent college students and other young adults miss out on the American Opportunity Tax Credit, which is a very valuable credit worth usually somewhere between $800 and $2,500. And the average amount that people miss is about $1,300. It's a very valuable credit. I'll dive deeper into that in future videos. But if you paid any college tuition at all and you claimed yourself or no one claimed you as a dependent, you should file a tax return and get that credit. Now, if you paid college tuition for a dependent of yours, if you are the parent of a college student, you should also definitely file a tax return, regardless of how much money you made, to claim that American Opportunity Credit, okay? If you received scholarships or Pell Grants within $4,000 of the amount of your tuition, then you should file a tax return. Okay, so once again, I'm talking to the recent college students and to the young adults who are out there who may have been, whether you were claimed by your parents or not. Okay, if you received scholarships or Pell Grants from your university, and those scholarships or Pell Grants were somewhere in the range of $4,000 below your tuition to $4,000 above your tuition, you're going to want to file a tax return to make sure that you, if you claimed yourself as a dependent, or your parents, if they claimed you as a dependent, can receive the American Opportunity Tax Credit. This is very tricky. I'd like you to pay attention to my later videos on how you can maximize your American Opportunity Tax Credit, or you can check out my website at collegetaxrefunds.com. and use the free online calculator there just to make sure that you claim the full American Opportunity Tax Credit. But if you received any Pell Grants or scholarships, it's very likely that you did not receive the full refund that you're entitled to. And for sure, you didn't get it if you did not file a tax return. So that's why you'll want to do that. You should also file a tax return if you adopted a child. Now, this is probably unlikely for most recent college students or young adults, but if you did adopt a child in 2019, you should file a tax return to make sure you get that adoption credit, whether this year or some later year. It's a very valuable credit. You should file a tax return if you earned $400 as an independent contractor or a business owner. You are a sole proprietor, you have your own business, or you're making money and getting paid on the side. You got a 1098-T that says that you earn some non-employee compensation of at least $400. You are required to file a tax return to pay some self-employment taxes. You should also file a tax return if you received any unemployment income in 2019. And that's because you're required to file that tax return. And it could be a costly mistake to not file when you're required. Finally, actually, there's two more. If you used the Obamacare marketplace to receive health insurance in 2019, be sure to file a tax return, because once again, you may qualify for a credit, a premium tax credit, based on the health insurance premiums that you paid to the marketplace. And you may also have to actually pay in if you received too many premium tax credits during the year, too much. And finally, you should file a 2019 tax return if you received untaxed tips. This is another requirement that if you got tips from your job and you did not pay the Social Security or Medicare taxes on those tips, you need to file a tax return. So those are all the reasons why you may need to file a tax return, or why in most of these cases you will simply want to file a tax return for 2019 to get more money back that you may have missed. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments here. Comment on this Facebook post, or comment on the YouTube channel at freedomwealthadventure.com. And let me know what your questions are. Let me know if you think that I've missed something that's important about a reason why you might want to file a tax return. Let me know if you think you should not file a tax return. And if you have any specific questions about your own taxes, you're welcome to post them in the comments, although then everybody can read them. You can also reach out to me at collegetaxrefunds.com on the comment page there, the contact us page there, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Thanks so much. Again, my name is Steve Hunt. I want to be your consultant for prosperity and adventure, and I appreciate you watching this video. Have a great day.